Thank you. Hi there and welcome to Extra Dry with a Twist, presented by YourAtHomeBar.com. I'm your host, Matt Lupica, and for those of you just tuning in for the first time, welcome aboard. We've got an exciting show today, and it combines education with entertainment. Now, some of the people who make up the cast I'd like to introduce just real quick. Here to combine the great food with the great drink is Chef Tim.
How's it going, Matt? Good to see you again.
Hey.
Yeah, hopefully we're going to be putting some smiles on some faces and putting some good food with a great drink. So let's see what we can do.
Sounds good. Now here to provide the great background music for us, standard procedure. And Eddie, why don't you introduce those guys over there?
Oh, thanks, Matt. We've got Jack Butler on the upright bass, and Henry McDougal is back here on the brushes, and I'm Eddie Nicholson.
Now here to explain a little bit about the liquor that we're going to be highlighting, which is vodka, is none other than Sean Doherty.
Thanks, Matt. So who here has ever heard of vodka? You know, if I would have asked that question 70 years ago, I would have been lucky to have one person here in the United States raise their hand. As common as it was in Eastern Europe and Russia since the 14th century, it took a long time for this drink to catch on. Yet today, over 20% of all alcohol consumed in this country is vodka. And the reason for that is everybody looked at that at the beginning and said, why should I drink something that doesn't have any flavor to it or doesn't even smell like anything? I mean, this is a whiskey country. Everybody got into the rye whiskeys back then. And it was because of an immigrant from Russia that came over here and was struggling because of the Depression and everything, that finally had to sell his company to a distributor here in the States that started selling it as a odorless, tasteless whiskey. It was so rare in the day that Mr. Boston Bar Handbook, which is like the Bible for bartenders in this country, didn't even have a vodka recipe until 1953. And the book's been out since the mid-1930s. And the first drink that he introduced was the vodkatini, which was a martini made with vodka. And to this day, when I ask people what they want to drink and they say a martini, I go, well, do you want gin or vodka? They look at me and go, vodka, of course. Like just assuming that it's made from vodka. The reason why it's as common as it is today is the people that bought out this little company from Russia went to Ian Fleming when he started making the James Bond movies and says, hey, we'd love to get our vodka a little more represented here in this country. We were wondering if you'd be interested in us buying the chance for James Bond to just drink vodka martinis in his movies. If you read any of the Ian Fleming books, nothing's ever mentioned of vodka. And the rest is history. Today, over 20% of all liquor consumed in the United States is vodka.
Now, there's a bit of information even I didn't know. Now, one of the best things about this show is that it's so interactive. And before the show, we selected a random individual to come up here and participate in a segment in which Sean will make a drink of their choosing. Now, will Jerry come up here? We talked to him earlier. Jerry, why don't you come up here? Why don't you have a seat right here?
How you doing, Jerry?
Hey, Sean. How are you?
We'll be back to see what kind of drink Jerry has Sean make for him right after you. Watch this. Welcome back to Extra Dry with a Twist. Now, Jerry, did you come up with a drink that you want Sean to make for you?
We're going to try Rusty Nail.
Try a rusty nail. What do you think, Sean?
It's an awesome choice.
Okay. So while he prepares that, Jerry, let's talk a little bit about what you do now. What do you do for a living?
Well, I'm retired, and now I'm the chamber of the Springfield Township Area Chamber of Commerce.
Now, for those of us watching and not really knowing what that is, what does that job entail?
Basically, we work with small businesses in the area that are struggling, and we kind of offer them educational help to find out what they can do in these financial times to beat the buzzer, so to say.
So outside of that, what do you like to do for fun?
I make beer.
Awesome.
I'm a brewer, so I belong to the Saws group in Akron, Ohio, so yeah, we're a fun group. We're always having fun, so.
We'll have to talk to you after the show here.
Yeah, hopefully you have some bottles in your trunk.
No bottles in the trunk, but lots of bottles.
Oh, sounds good. Well, he's got the drink prepared for you. Why don't you try it?
I have to ask you a question before you take a drink. Do you like a twist with that, or?
Sure, let's do a twist.
I think that was record time, Sean.
Well, it doesn't take much to make one of these. Rusty Nail is, what I do is I do 1.5 shots, or 1.5 ounces of scotch and 3/4 of an ounce of Drambuie. It's just a float of Drambuie, really, but Drambuie is a scotch-based liqueur anyway, and what it does is it takes the smoke out of the scotch.
What do you think about that, Jerry?
It's nice and smooth. It does take the smoke out of the scotch. So that works.
Well, he knows what he's talking about. Jerry, thanks for coming up here. We appreciate it.
Thank you for being part of this. Really appreciate it.
When we come back, Sean will be demonstrating how to make the Bloody Mary and the vodka martini right after you watch this. Welcome back to Extra Dry with a Twist. Now, Sean, you will be highlighting 2 drinks tonight.
That's correct.
What's the first one that you're going to talk about?
Well, I'm going to talk about the Dirty Vodka Martini. Tim over there
Oh, big fan.
is
Big
gonna,
fan.
is going to have one. First thing you want to do is you want to take a pint glass and fill it with ice. The secret to this drink is to make the vodka as cold as possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 2 ounces of vodka. And what I do now is I'll take the vermouth. Originally, when a martini was made, it was a 2-to-1 drink. 2 parts vodka to 1 part dry vermouth. The problem with that is nobody likes dry vermouth, really. So what you want to do is you want to put it in a martini glass. Another secret to this is, and there's things that go both ways on this. A lot of people think you should shake the martini to get the nice little ice crystals on the vodka drink itself. In my opinion, all you're doing is watering the liquor down. You do it this way, you're going to get it colder more than watered down. Then you take, I'm making a dirty martini. What makes it dirty, this isn't R-rated, folks, you don't have to worry about it, is I add brine to, it's olive juice or brine to the vodka. A little messy there. The messier the better is the way I always look at it.
Shows us you mean it.
That's right. I care.
That's right.
And I spin it a couple times more. Then I take the vermouth in the martini glass and I swirl it out. The dry vermouth has enough viscosity where it's going to layer the martini glass. Now with gin, what I usually do is I'll break the, what I call break the ice, or break the egg with it. And I'll do it with this one just to show you what I mean, but I usually don't use tin with gin. But I'll do it with this too. There you go. And Tim, you want blue cheese olives, right?
Oh, you know it.
Now, there's a whole bunch of different types of olives you can have. You can stuff it any way you want to. What you would want to do is get like a pitless olive and stuff it with whatever you want to. Anchovies, red peppers, blue cheese. You can stuff it with pretty much anything you want to. Blue cheese seems to be the favorite here around this area.
Now, when you make these drinks, does blue cheese happen to be one of the, like, a lot of people will order that?
Well, if they ask for blue cheese, you want to make sure you have some available for them. So, Tim, here you go, sir.
Breakfast, thank you.
Enjoy. Now, this drink that I'm going to be making here is a little complicated. This is what I like to call everything but the kitchen sink drink, and that's the Bloody Mary. I'm a firm believer that if you're going to drink a Bloody Mary, what you're trying to do is get as much heat as possible without losing the essence of the flavor of the tomato juice and the vodka. You take the highball glass, and I have Worcestershire sauce. I add usually about 2 ounces, or about 2 ounces of that in there. A couple dashes of hot sauce. Some pepper. Since I'm drinking this, usually you can use a couple pinches of celery salt, but I'm not really a big salt fan, so I leave it out, but you would usually use a couple pinches of celery salt. And of course you can't forget about the horseradish. This is prepared horseradish. You want to do about 1/4 of a teaspoon.
Sean, when you're talking about the pepper, does grinded pepper tend to give it more of a little more zest?
Yeah, I mean, you could use grinded pepper. I mean, whatever your preference is. I mean, in my opinion, it doesn't matter how I like to make a drink. It matters on what the customer likes to drink. So I'm going to give it any way they want it. But this is the way I like it, so I'm making it my way.
It's a good rule to follow.
Nothing from the peanut gallery back there. My waitress back there, who loves to drink Bloody Marys, by the way. And then you use about an ounce and a half of vodka. And what I like to do is I like to squeeze a lemon and lime in mine. The cool thing about this drink is you can't really go wrong. It's just whatever you prefer. This is kind of like a little wake me up in the morning. And then I add my ice. And I like to add tomato juice. And you can either stir it, but what I like to do is I like to shake it up. Now, I like to shake this drink up because you get a lot of nice, thick ingredients in here. So you want to shake it up as much as possible to blend those ingredients together. And of course, you garnish it. I'm going to use a couple blue cheese olives too.
It's always good to change it up a little bit.
Absolutely.
Salute.
Cheers. Oh yeah. Nice and hot.
Oh, you got it just like I like it. Very nice.
Thank you very much.
Good job, brother.
Another job well done by Sean the bartender. And we'll be right back after this to see what's cooking with Chef Tim. Right after you. Watch this. Welcome back to Extra Dry with a Twist. Thanks for sticking around. Now let's throw it over to Chef Tim. You got something pretty good cooking up, don't you?
Yeah, sticking along with vodka, I thought we'd do something nice and show everyone that, sometimes it's always great when you're making pasta, to make your own sauce, but as it's just not realistic for everyone to be able to make their own sauce all the time. So what I thought I'd show you is, I have right here just a simple everyday grocery store pasta sauce that we're going to start with. We're going to show you how to build on that a little bit and also keep vodka in mind at the same time. We're going to make ourselves a baked penne alla vodka. So I'm going to show you now how to make the vodka sauce. We'll start off with a pot, just get it nice and hot. I like to use a little bit of blended oil. So then we have some garlic, I have some cremini mushrooms right here, some diced onions. We also have some scallions and some fresh basil, and we're going to use those to really pick up on and enhance the sauce that we're already starting with. So we'll start off with a little bit of garlic in here. That going around. Toast the garlic before you add anything else in. Then we'll throw in our mushrooms and our onions. We're just going to take this and keep it moving around as we saute it up. Then also, of course, some of our other ingredients is we have the vodka, which is a given. We must have that.
Absolutely.
Then also I have a little heavy cream here because what we're going to make this version of the alla vodka sauce is actually going to be what's a blush marinara. We actually use mostly marinara. We're going to add in a little heavy cream that gives it this real nice light color, like a pinkish glow almost, and also creams out and makes the flavor really stick and bond with the noodles.
Hey, Tim, when people add the vodka to it, it's not like they're going to eat it and get loaded, are they?
No, not at all. I'm not going to get you any more drunk here because whenever we cook with alcohol, usually close to 95%, if not even higher, around 98% of all the alcohol is going to burn out of the dish. Especially if you put it in, like if I was to add the vodka right now, we get nice big flames like you've seen the previous episode we did, where we got the nice big flames when we were working with the bourbon. I'm actually going to show you a different method this time. You don't always want to burn off your alcohol. So now we got these, they've sauteed up nice and light. My onions are starting to become translucent, so you can start to see through them. The mushrooms have gotten really nice and soft. At this point, I'll usually season a little bit with a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Always do your seasoning in stages. It really helps refine the flavor in your dish. Then we're going to add in some of our scallions. Throw those right in there. And just let those get a real nice quick sweat on them. It really only takes a moment. Then we're going to go ahead and add in our marinara, just regular store-bought.
Now, you just mentioned you could buy store-bought marinara. You can actually make your own marinara too, depending on how much time you have.
Absolutely. If you have the time, like actually what I prefer to do in my house is I make large batches of it all in one day when I have a day off. I'll go and make 4 to 5 gallons of sauce, and I just put it in Ziploc bags and throw it in the freezer and freeze it, and then I have it whenever I want to pull it back out. So you can always do that method, or you can always just go get a little bit of store-bought and kind of beef it up on your own.
You know, I like talking to you, Tim, but I'm going to go over here and take a couple drinks of my Bloody Mary.
I don't blame you. I'm missing my martini right now. All right, we're just going to stir that around a little bit. While we're letting that warm back up, go ahead, put in our vodka. I have about half a cup right here, and that's working with 1 quart of sauce. So go ahead and put that in, stir it around. And as you notice, you didn't get any flames. But just because we don't see flames doesn't mean that we're not cooking the alcohol. The alcohol will actually just evaporate, just like water would, and it actually does it at a lower temperature.
And just on that note, that's how they make alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they call it spirit. They call it spirit because it's the spirit of the liquid that you're distilling, or the things that you're distilling, be it grain or corn or whatever.
And we're up to a nice simmer now. You can notice the sauce is starting to flop around and everything. That's because it's real thick, so it's not going to stay nice and level like we like to see a simmer, but that's okay. Now we're going to go ahead and put in our cream. Just pour that right up in there and give that a stir around, and you can see the color as it starts to mix in. It really lightens that up nice. We'll go ahead and say that we've had this going for about 25 to 35 minutes, and at that point, that's when you want to add what you call your aromatics. Now my aromatics are going to be chiffonade basil, but you can use oregano, thyme, you know, whatever you'd like. So go ahead and throw that in there. Mix that in really good. Really let the basil cook into there. Then your aromatics will be done. Now at this point, we're going to be making a baked pasta dish. So we'll want our vessel, whatever size cooking container or anything you may have, will always work. So you want to have that. And then on the side, while I've been doing this and you're going through that 25 to 35 minute cooking process, you're going to go ahead, boil some water with about, say for a gallon of water, you want about a 1/4 cup of salt and about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Go ahead and put that in a pot, bring it to a boil, and you're going to throw in, we're using penne today, and you're going to throw that in, and you're going to cook it up until you can pull it out. Take a bite, and right on the inside you'll be able to see just a little tiny line of uncooked pasta.
What do they call that, by
That's
the way?
called al dente, which is perfect. And what that translates to is to the tooth. You can feel it on your tooth when you bite into it. Just a little bit of uncooked pasta. And that's right where you want to be. And once you have that, I'm just going to go ahead and drop it all right into the sauce. And just go ahead and stir it right in. So now at this point, go ahead and get this out of here. And don't be afraid to make a mess of your kitchen. It's all right, you can clean up later. We're going to take our baking dish. You don't need to worry about spraying this or lining it with anything because you're just going to put the pasta right in there. The sauce will act as a barrier and you won't have much sticking to the sides. If you do, it's okay. Some people actually like that. So you're going to take your pasta. What I like to do is a little bit of layering. So I'll take and I'll pour some pasta in there, about half of it, to where I have it sitting in there nicely just like that. Then take your cheese of your choice. For today's selection, I went with a mozzarella and a provolone mix. Shredded them up real nice, and then just kind of put yourself a nice layer of cheese in there, right on top of that. Then you want to take the rest of your pasta that you've created, throw the rest of it right on in there, kind of spread it out throughout the pan evenly, have a nice even layer. And then take the rest of your cheese, put it right on top. Don't be afraid to go heavy. Cheese is not a bad thing. What I like to do personally is before I put that last layer of cheese on there, I put it in there for about 10 minutes by itself. I'll pull it out, then I'll put that last layer of cheese right on top, give it about another 10 minutes. So that way the layer of cheese in the center gets real nice and gooey, and then you get this layer on there. And after about another 10 minutes, so you're looking at about 20-minute cooking time overall, then you have this, which is nice and great. You have a nice little crust of cheese over top of it. It's got a little crispiness to it. It's nice and gooey in the center. Cut it out however you like it. Serve it up on a dish. Garnish of your choice.
I'll tell you what, it was great. I know the audience had a chance to have some. What'd you guys think of it?
Do I get to keep my job?
I think your job's safe, Tim.
I'll be back for episode 3? All right.
In fact, we'll be right back after you watch this with Sean's last call. Welcome back to Extra Dry with a Twist, and here's Sean with tonight's last call.
Great time tonight. Thank you very much for coming. Really appreciate it. Now you know how to make drinks with vodka, know how to cook with vodka. You learned some stuff today.
I learned a lot, and I'll tell you what, we talked before the show about this segment, and people can learn how to make the Bloody Mary in large quantities, can't they?
Yeah, we have several videos on YouTube. We started a series called The Home Bartender. You can check that out at youtube.com/Sean the Bartender. Excellent, excellent videos on how you can learn how to make different drinks at home.
Another exciting thing is we just opened up a new website that's pretty comprehensive, and people can go there for drink videos, they can go there for drink recipes, and interactive with people on forum.
Yeah, we're adding a featured drink of the day every day. There's a new recipe on there. We have a toast of the day, so if you want to feel smart with your buddies when you go to the bar, hey, cheers, here's blah, 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 you can find out a new toast every day. We also have fun facts you can even share with your friends. And we change our stories every day, and I think it's going to be even more interactive as time goes. In a couple months, we're looking at upgrading and making it even more exciting.
A lot of interactive stuff. You guys have fun here today? Why don't you go ahead and take us home, Sean?
Hey, thank you very much for coming today. We really had a lot of fun with you today. And for Chef Tim, thank you so much. Debbie the waitress, unbelievable job. Thanks for keeping the ship afloat. For Lee, Adam, for the band Standard Procedure, Matt, and myself, thanks for joining us today. Until next time, cheers.
Good job.